The rain on Sigma IIIB wasn't the gentle patter of earth, but a relentless, horizontal barrage of icy needles. Kaelen, her environmental suit whining against the wind, pushed through the dense, purple foliage. Her survey mission was aborted, her shuttle a crumpled piece of scrap half a click back. Survival was the only objective now. It was the whimpering that led her to the shallow cave, a mere depression under a granite overhang. Inside, huddled together for meager warmth, were three furry shapes. They were canid-like, with 6 legs and coats of mottled gray that would provide perfect camouflage in the dry season. Now, they were just sodden, shivering pups. Their ribs were visible against their thin hides. Their mother, Kaelen guessed from the tracks outside, had not returned. The planet had claimed another. Humanity's directives were clear. Observe, do not interfere. But looking at the trio of helpless creatures, their large, silver eyes blinking up at her, the directives felt like a ghost's whisper in a gale. Her own survival was uncertain, leaving them was a death sentence. "All right, you lot," she muttered, her voice raspy from disuse. New directive. Her first task was to expand the cave. Using the laser cutter from her intact survival kit, she carefully carved into the soft granite, creating a deeper, more enclosed space. She lined the floor with thick, waxy leaves she'd found to be dry even in the downpour. At the entrance, she constructed a crude but effective windbreak from fallen branches and more foliage, leaving a small, angled opening. The pups watched her, their whimpering subsiding into curious snuffles. When she finished, the interior of the shelter was noticeably drier and out of the biting wind. She coaxed them inside with soft clicks, the universal language of reassurance. They huddled in the new space, their shivering slowly easing. Her own stomach growled, a sharp reminder of her predicament. Her rations were low. She'd been living on nutrient pastes and filtered water for 2 days. The thought of hunting the planet's unfamiliar, and likely toxic, fauna was daunting. The next morning, she found the first gift. It was left just outside the windbreak, a small, lizard-like creature, neatly dispatched. Its neck was broken, a clean, efficient kill. Kaelen stared, her hand going to the plasma pistol on her hip. She scanned the dripping forest. Nothing. Just the ever-present sigh of the wind and the drip-drip of water from leaves. Cautious, she used her scanner. The creature, a skitter lizard, according to her database, registered as non-toxic, its biochemistry surprisingly compatible. Her hunger won over her suspicion. She butchered it with her knife, cooking the lean meat over a small, contained energy cell fire. The pups, enticed by the smell, crept forward. She tossed them the organs and scraps, which they devoured with grateful urgency. She ate, the first real meat in days of profound comfort. The gesture was not random. It was payment. The following day, it happened again. This time, it was a cluster of fist-sized, tuberous roots, their earthy smell promising carbohydrates. And the day after that, another skitter lizard, larger this time. Kaelen started leaving her shelter more, foraging for edible fungi and purifying water, but the primary source of her sustenance appeared like clockwork each dawn. She never saw the deliverers. But she felt them. A shadow moving between the trees, the rustle of foliage just out of sight, the occasional glint of silver eyes in the twilight that were far too large to belong to the pups. They were the pack, the adults. She was caring for their young, and they were provisioning her. A simple, profound transaction that transcended species and star systems. One evening, emboldened by this silent pact, she brought the pups outside as the rain eased to a mist. They tumbled over each other, their 6-legged gait clumsy and endearing. She sat on a rock, watching them, a faint smile touching her lips for the first time since the crash. That's when she saw him. At the edge of the clearing, standing as still as the trees themselves, was an adult. It was magnificent. Taller than a wolf, its 6 powerful legs planted firmly, its mottled gray coat was thick and lustrous. Intelligence shone in its silver eyes, which were fixed not on the playing pups, but on her. Kaelen froze, her breath catching. This was the alpha. She knew it with a primal certainty. He didn't growl or bare his teeth. He simply stood, assessing. Slowly, deliberately, she lowered her gaze, a universal sign of non-aggression. When she looked up, he gave a single, sharp nod of his massive head. Then, he turned and melted back into the forest. The message was clear. the arrangement stands. You are under our protection. The days turned into a rhythm. She tended the cubs, their wobbles turning into confident strides, their mules into playful yips. She gave them names from old Earth myths. Fenrir, the largest and boldest. Lupa, the clever one. And Romulus, who always seemed to be starting a fight. They followed her everywhere, tripping over her boots and chewing on the straps of her gear. The pack's gifts became more varied. Once, it was a string of fat, freshwater fish. Another time, a haunch of meat from a large herbivore she'd only seen on her initial scans. They were not just keeping her alive, they were ensuring she thrived. One afternoon, a new sound cut through the forest's white noise. It wasn't the wind or the rain. It was the distinct, low thrum of an engine. A ship. Her heart hammered against her ribs. Rescue. The thought was a lightning strike of conflicting emotions. Salvation meant leaving this place, this strange, beautiful interspecies family she had stumbled into. She scrambled to the highest point near her shelter, activating the emergency beacon on her suit. She watched as a sleek, orbital descent vehicle broke through the clouds, its thrusters firing as it homed in on her signal. When she returned to the shelter, her stomach was a knot of anxiety. The cubs sensed her tension, clustering around her legs. She knelt, scratching behind their ears, their familiar warmth a comfort. The rescue team, a trio of humans in crisp corporate security uniforms, found her like that, surrounded by the three six-legged alien creatures. Kaelen Venters, Galactic Survey. The lead officer asked, his helmet retracted, his expression a mixture of relief and profound confusion as he looked at the cubs nuzzling her hands. That's me, Kaelen said, her voice thick. We picked up your beacon. Your shuttle's transponder is toast. We assumed the worst. His eyes darted around the well-constructed shelter, the remains of a cooked fish by the fire pit. You've done well for yourself. Before she could answer, a low, resonant growl echoed from the tree line. The security officers snapped to attention, their rifles coming up. Behind them, emerging from the shadows, was the entire pack. There were 8 of them, led by the Alpha. They were a wall of muscle and fur and silent, deadly intent. Their message was not silent this time. It was a clear, physical threat. Touch her, and we will end you. The officers froze, their training inadequate for this particular standoff. Stand down, Kaelen commanded, her voice sharp with an authority that surprised even her. She stepped between the humans and the pack, her hands held out to both sides. They're not threatening you. They're saying goodbye. She turned to the Alpha. He took a step forward, his immense head lowering to her level. She reached out, her gloved hand pausing inches from his muzzle. He closed the distance, pressing his cool, wet nose against her palm. A gesture of trust. A final transaction completed. He then gave a soft chuff, and the cubs, with reluctant whines, trotted over to his side. Lupa turned back once, giving a little yip. Goodbye, my friends, Kaelen whispered. She picked up her few salvaged possessions and walked toward the rescue vehicle, the security officers falling in behind her, their weapons lowered but their eyes wide with disbelief. As the ship's ramp closed, Kaelen took one last look at the forest. The pack was gone. But on the ground, right where the Alpha had stood, lay a final gift. A single, perfect, iridescent feather from a bird she had never seen, its colors shifting in the misty light. It wasn't food, it was a token, a reminder that in the cold calculus of the universe, a simple act of kindness could build a bridge, and even between a lost human and an alien pack, there could be family, there could be honor, and there could be a debt, beautifully repaid.